Welcome all, glad you could make it. With the upcoming movies, I thought it would be, whoa, Jesus Christ! Where was I? Oh yes, now might be a good time to have a look at the movie that started it all. This is Star Wars. Oh great, they never finish anything on time. Many reviews of Star Wars are from the perspective of first seeing it as a child. But what was the experience like for an adult? Let's go back to 1977, a more civilized age, before the dark times, before the Jar Jar. Okay, so it really wasn't more civilized and certainly had the worst fashion in all human history, but Star Wars was a global phenomena that summer, although it wasn't expected to be. The poster didn't bode well. Although it has since become iconic, it had more than a little touch of 70s cheese about it. It was done by the Hildebrand brothers, famous for their Disney-esque Lord of the Rings illustrations. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, it's the tale of an inexperienced hero led by a wise mentor, joined by a group of friends on a quest to destroy an evil weapon. Just saying. Science fiction movies were still being made in the early 70s, but they were not the biggest box office draws. The standard had been set fairly high in 1968 with the release of 2 movies.
There! Can you believe it?
Yes, amusing. A man acting like an ape.
Most unusual.
He has a definite gift for mimicry.
Seriously, though, the visual standard to beat was, of course, 2001, a film whose visual effects are seen as impressive even today. The other film was Planet of the Apes, which spawned 4 sequels, a television show, and got audiences used to people in funny masks. Other notable films in the period between 1968 and 1977 include the Andromeda Strain.
It's a great place to grow pot.
Just a plain old crop of barley.
Silent Running, which had 2 cutesy robots with personalities. The infamous Zardoz.
The gun is good.
The gun is good.
The penis is evil.
And Logan's Run.
Let's have sex.
No.
Then why are you wasting my time,
Star Trek was enjoying its first cult flowering, experiencing great success in syndicated reruns. Also airing on television was Space 1999, which does share some passing stylistic similarities to Star Wars. So there was a brief overview of what science fiction fans had been seeing before 1977. Let's get to the main attraction, shall we? The film begins with no opening credits, very unusual for the time, and then that impressive blast of music. The opening crawl gives us some backstory. It would not have been called A New Hope then, but it's damn near impossible to see Star Wars now as it was originally shown.
Yes, I bet you have.
We're gonna have to live with it.
Flash and his body have been destroyed. Intercept the radio message from Flash to his father, saying he has discovered Polaroid, an antidote for the death dust.
The crawl is of course a reference to the Flash Gordon serials of the 1930s. Before you say why would they reference something so remote, remember it was only 40 years before 1977, the same amount of time that separates us from the Star Wars premiere. Now, what would have been the effect of the greatest pan down in history? Oh wow, realistic looking planets, something we haven't seen in a long time. Oh, a spaceship, nice! Oh my fucking god! Yes, 2001 had a large ship, but this one comes in the first minute. It's one of the most impactful shots in movie history and really needs to be seen in a theater. You may think highly of your high-def television, but that's just peanuts to the big screen. Although starring mostly at the time unknown actors, the cast did include two known to audiences in 1977. Peter Cushing was best known for his roles in the Hammer horror movies.
You, my friend, are all that's left of their religion.
But surely you're assuming a great deal.
I don't think so. I made an extensive study of this so-called religion. It was based upon artificial creeds and beliefs, some of them ludicrous in the extreme.
And the other, Alec Guinness, whose career, unfortunately, at this point, was not at its best.
You tread heavily, but you speak the truth.
The first characters we meet are not human, but robots. Viewers would have been reminded of 1927's Metropolis and the aforementioned silent running. Cultural icon today, Darth Vader's first appearance then was seen differently. Many say his helmet is based on Japanese ones from the warrior period. Maybe so, but contemporary audiences saw something, well... Yep, he's a fucking Nazi.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
And that's all you needed to know. The thought of someone making 3 films filling in his backstory is unnecessary and deeply disturbing.
He's embarrassing.
The 70s reaction to Princess Leia was more problematic.
Just to avoid any more female advice, we ought to be able to get out of here.
I don't know who you are or where you came from. But from now on, you do as I tell you, okay?
The term strong female character had not yet been invented, and unfortunately was closer to...
You bitch!
It has been noted by George Lucas himself that he owes a debt to the film The Hidden Fortress, but that would not have been generally known at the time. He does drop a hint in this line of dialogue.
Or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fort.
We seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life.
What would have been noticed was the similarity to this setting in a certain book.
No, my father didn't fight in the wars. He was a navigator on a spice freighter.
The later film adaptation elicited only one response. Another series of books that would have been brought to mind were Asimov's Foundation.
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently.
This would later be confirmed with the planet-wide city of the prequels. Star Trek fans would have noted these from their favorite show.
Dangerous to your Starfleet, Commander, not to this battle station.
Why are we still moving towards it?
The coordinate track that's pulling us in.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Even this musical theme was very similar to one from the original series. Normally at this point I would include samples from Star Trek for illustrations, but as the lawyers at CBS are currently such petty creatures who can go f*** themselves sideways with a small pony and a melon, you'll just have to trust me on this. It's well known that Star Wars borrowed from World War II imagery for the battle sequences, such as footage of aerial dogfights and the 1955 movie The Dam Busters. But a rather unfortunate one comes during the Rebel celebration. A triumph, if you will. To sum up, though all these influences were noticeable in Star Wars, something happened by the end. You forgot all that and realized you'd just seen something exciting, fresh, and original.
That's it! We did it!
We did it!
There is one downside, though. Because it appealed to all ages, that included children. Lucas realized this and began to pander to them, so we got things like this.
But now, let's get started, shall we?
If you were one of those children, this is for you. You may fire when ready. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.